No rain expected except for tomorrow night going into Thursday. Just about 100% chance of that. And then a coin flip for Friday. We're at 41, Kingwood 40 here at the University of Houston. Freeways starting to clean up nicely. That earlier issue, West Loop southbound Braeswood, they cleared that about 10-15 minutes ago. It's moving a little bit better. Also, over on 249, headed north, Chasewood Park, they're trying to drag a wreck out of the way. It's KUHF Houston News 88.7, a service of the University of Houston. Thanks for giving this morning. It's 9:01.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Corva Coleman. Arizona Senator Mark Kelly says President Trump has crossed the line by calling out a video that Kelly and other Democratic lawmakers published. The video tells service members not to obey illegal orders. NPR's Deirdre Walsh has more.
Arizona Democratic Senator Mark Kelly says the president is trying to bully his critics, but it won't work.
Everybody needs to wake up. The occupant of the Oval Office is ignorant to the Constitution and has no regard for the rule of law.
Kelly defended the video that he and other Democrats with military and intelligence backgrounds recorded, saying it was a simple message that everyone must follow the law. He said since the president and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth criticized him and the other lawmakers, threats against his family have increased. The senator indicated he has not received any formal request for an interview yet, but would follow the law in any probe. Deirdre Walsh, NPR News, Washington.
President Trump's immigration crackdown has intensified a severe shortage of farm workers. The administration wants to help, but its remedy is facing strong resistance. From member station KCUR, Frank Morris has more.
Most of the food produced in the U.S. is touched by immigrant labor, and about 40% of those workers are in the country illegally. Farm jobs were already hard to fill, and since ICE raids began last year, the farm workforce has shrunk. Christy Boswell is with the new advocacy group Grow It Here.
Farmers have reached a crisis point. We have farms that are going out of business. We have food prices at an all-time high.
The Trump administration is trying to make it easier and cheaper for farmers to hire foreign guest workers through the H-2A visa program. Farm workers' unions are suing to stop deep cuts in guest worker wages. For NPR News, I'm Frank Morris in Kansas City.
Stocks opened higher this morning as forecasters raised their outlook for global economic growth. NPR's Scott Horsley reports the Dow Jones Industrial Average rose more than 150 points in early trading.
President Trump's tariffs haven't been quite as much of a wet blanket for the world economy as forecasters had feared. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development now expects the global economy to grow 3.2% this year. That's slower than last year, but better than had been projected back in June. In a fashion combo worth nearly $1.4 billion, Italy's Prada Group is buying Versace. Prada says it sees significant untapped potential in the brand, which had lost some luster under its previous owner, Capri Holdings. And while the Federal Reserve has investors guessing will they or won't they cut interest rates next week, Japan's central bank is hinting at a possible rate increase to combat stubborn inflation. Scott Horsley, NPR News, Washington.
On Wall Street, the Nasdaq is up more than 200 points, or nearly 1%. It's NPR.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Cigna Healthcare, a health benefits provider that advocates for better health through every stage of life. Learn more at Cigna.com. And listeners like you who donate to this NPR station.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Tom Perumian. Mayor John Whitmire could lose the endorsement of the party he's been affiliated with for more than 50 years. The Harris County Democratic Party will vote later this month to withhold its endorsement because Whitmire attended a fundraiser for Republican Congressman Dan Crenshaw. News 88.7's Dominic Anthony Walsh has more.
Nearly 100 precinct chairs are signed on to the resolution, which already passed 2 committees by wide margins. They argue Whitmire crossed a line from working across the aisle to actively supporting the GOP. Carisha Rogers is co-chair of the Houston Progressive Caucus.
You can work with the Republicans to get policies done, but you should never be working directly for their cause by going to their fundraisers.
Up to 600 precinct chairs will vote on the resolution on December 14th. They previously voted down a related rule change that would prohibit Democratic candidates from fundraising for Republicans, though the progressives plan to reintroduce that measure. I'm Dominic Anthony Walsh, News 88.7.
A former Harris County jail guard has been sentenced to a year of deferred adjudication. This comes just months after he was accused of beating a pair of female inmates. 23-year-old Devin Ortiz will also serve 20 hours of community service, according to the Houston Chronicle. He was indicted back in June after 2 instances in which he was accused of assaulting the inmates. Video shows Ortiz repeatedly throwing the women down on the ground. Taking a look at sports, the Rockets. They lost to the Utah Jazz last night, 133-125. Star player Kevin Durant scored 32 points in the game. Houston has 13 wins and 5 losses. Mostly cloudy today, 56 the expected high. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 45. Right now, mostly cloudy, 41 degrees on the UH campus. I'm Tom Perumian, News 88.7.
This is Houston Matters. I'm Michael Haggerty, sitting in today for Craig Cohen. Good morning. Coming up this hour, where to get the best European food in the city on this month's installment of The Full Menu. And we escape the urban sprawl with a visit to the Lake Houston Wilderness Park. But first, as you've been hearing, today is Giving Tuesday, and we're here to remind you of the important role Houston Public Media plays in keeping you informed and to ask you to consider giving to this nonprofit, trusted, community-based source of fact-based journalism. Now, not everyone can give. That's why we count on those of you who can. So maybe make a $20 or $30 a month gift or more if you can afford it right now at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate, or you can call us at 888-909-0887. Here with me all hour long to encourage your support is Houston Public Media's Matt Hare. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, Michael. Yeah, look, the goal this hour is to get 40 gifts. We're trying to get to 200 more gifts that we need by the end of this hour. We started the morning with just under 400, and we need 240 gifts to go. This hour, the goal is 40 gifts, and that unlocks $25,000 for Houston Public Media. Houston Public Media doesn't just keep the community strong. We also provide the news that you rely on in the moments that you need us, and that $25,000 will go a long way. So head over to houstonpublicmedia.org right now or call 888-909-0887.
Yeah, we can get there with your help. You will help us get there with a gift right now. HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or 888-909-0887.
You know, this really is an important day. When you give now, you are supporting stories that really matter. I think about things going on in Texas right now, specifically the redistricting. Will the new maps go into effect for the mid-term elections next year? These are stories that we're constantly talking about, we're constantly covering, and we constantly have our eye on. And we do it for you because we know it's information you need, and we know that it matters to you. So on this Giving Tuesday, help us continue our mission of providing local news and state news. We provide those state newscasts all across Texas right here out of Houston Public Media, and we do it with your help. Head over to houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887 right now.
Whatever it is that happens in the news, we're here to talk about it when the floodwaters rise, the lights go out, or whatever else is happening in our community. Our newsroom is already on it. People like Matt are springing into action. Michael Adkison, you heard from earlier today, running out to be there and to cover these stories. They're providing real-time coverage of everything that's going on so that you don't have to and so that you can stay informed. And that's just what Houston Public Media does. If you turn to the station to get those kinds of alerts and vital information during a storm or whatever the story is, now is the time to give at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate. Or again, you can call us at 888-909-0887. Matt Harrod will be back with us later this hour for more conversation and more encouragement for your contribution. Matt, thank you.
Thank you.
As of November, the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles has implemented new identification requirements for vehicle registrations. It's a policy shift that left county offices across the state scrambling to adapt. The changes came after Republican State Representative Brian Harrison sent a letter to Governor Greg Abbott demanding action to prevent undocumented immigrants from registering vehicles. With an estimated 1.7 million undocumented immigrants living in Texas, the policy could have some far-reaching implications for mobility and for public safety in the state. Bayliss Wagner is a state politics reporter for the San Antonio Express News and the Hearst Network, which includes the Houston Chronicle. And she told Houston Matters producer Mincho Jacob about the politics behind the move and what the changes could mean.
So before this, you needed a piece of identity, something proving your identity. But it could be a foreign passport, and it didn't have to have a visa. It was just, okay, this is your passport, it proves who you are, or a driver's license. The other thing is that you could come in with your passport, say your U.S. passport, or your driver's license. If it had been expired within the last year, then it was okay, because they knew that, especially in Texas, there are long waits to renew driver's licenses and other forms of identification. So you could use those. Now, everything has to be current and up to date to be used in the registration process. And you need to show a visa if you're not a citizen, or something proving that you have a green card or another kind of legal status.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a really big shift, and usually these kinds of changes take months or years to make. They might be made through legislation. In this case, the DMV has broad authority to determine what kinds of identity, forms of identification it accepts for registration, and so it seemed to have the leeway to make this change. But they say they're still going to be kind of taking some steps to finalize it.
And before we get into the effects for undocumented or immigrant populations, I mean, you did mention that there is people, even if you have an ID that is expired and you're on wait lists, I mean, there will be an impact for folks who are citizens, right?
Yes. And so the tax offices, the head of, for example, Bayard County's tax office said, we are going to be turning people away potentially who come in with expired forms of identification, because that happens every once in a while. It doesn't happen super, super often. Mostly if you're registering a vehicle, you have an up-to-date driver's license or passport. But they predict that it will happen more often.
So if you go to renew or to get a registration in Texas, you don't go to the DMV, you go to your county tax office. And I know you did speak to a couple. What else were they saying, county tax officials, about these rules and the guidance they'd received thus far?
They were confused. They did not expect this, and I think typically they have lead time when there's an expected rule change. In this instance, they got a letter. The letter from the DMV said it's clarifying a rule about identification, which is very confusing. It said, well, before we required passports or other forms of identification, we're clarifying that also means you need a visa with the passport if it's a foreign passport. All the tax offices, view this as a rule change, not just a clarification, because it will require them to do things very differently. And the majority I spoke to, Harris County's tax office, Comal County, Hayes County, Travis County, Bayard County, they're all still in the process of figuring out what this means. They haven't even put out notices to residents of those counties to let them know yet, because they seem to be a little bit unsure of exactly how to implement it. So that's something that's interesting. I'm still waiting on those counties, besides Bayard, which told me, we're going to go forward with this. We figured out what to do. But the rest of them wouldn't give me a statement besides, we're still working on it.
Right. And stepping back a little bit to Republican State Representative Brian Harrison, he's from Midlothian, which is a suburb of Dallas. Every time I don't know where something is, it's usually right outside of Dallas. But he's taken credit for this change. Listeners might know his name from, he took credit for the ouster of Texas A&M University president over gender identity teachings. How did he become such an influential person? Because he's not known like, Brandon Creighton or Paul Betancourt for legislation, right?
Yeah, he's an interesting character in the legislature. He I wrote a profile of him right after the A&M master, and he actually used to be a White House official under George W. Bush, and then sort of found his way back to Texas. He only has had about 2 bills passed in his 4 years as a state lawmaker. This year, he had 0 bills passed. And what he says is that he doesn't need legislative authority or success to be successful at what he wants to do, which is to push the Texas government further right. He is particularly concerned about what he calls woke indoctrination. So he's very against anything that he perceives as benefiting trans individuals. He's against like gender teachings in colleges. And then he consistently claims that the Texas government is facilitating illegal immigration with things like this, where they're not checking for legal status with car registration. So he's pushed for a lot of changes. He's pushed for us to disassociate from, I think, the American Library Association, which he considered to be woke. He also helped oust a Planned Parenthood a Texas Medical Board medical director who had ties to Planned Parenthood. Even though the Planned Parenthood was in Texas, so was no longer performing abortions, Representative Harrison thought this was unacceptable that this person be involved in state government. So his MO is to go on Twitter. He's built a huge following and to make noise about things that he thinks should change in the executive branch. And oftentimes it works.
Registration fees are pretty significant forms of revenue for county and state. Did he have anything to say about the impact that this loss of fees could mean?
Yeah, so to explain that, county tax offices take registrations. They get about $20 for each, say in Bayard County. They get about $20 per registration. The other $65.50 goes to the state. I asked Representative Harrison what he thought about that, and he said he's completely unconcerned. His goal is to make it harder to be undocumented in Texas, and he believes that that's worth it. And the state does have extra money in its tax funds, so the state isn't at this point concerned about that, I assume. But we could see an impact for county tax offices, and we could see how much it impacts the state as well.
Right. And you reported that there are about 1.7 million undocumented immigrants living in Texas who have been registering their vehicles legally and getting insurance. So what are their options now?
I think that's what was really concerning to the business owners that I talked to. There are 2 in Austin who serve primarily Spanish-speaking populations and have clients who are undocumented and who will go through them to figure out how to register their vehicles and then use those registrations and those titles that they get to buy insurance. And they said, I don't know what they're going to do, but they think it'll be catastrophic because there's also the fact that these, people will not be able to, they're not going to get emissions tests if they can't register their cars. No one does that voluntarily. It's usually because they're required to. And the insurance thing could be an issue. So they also said that this could pave the way for more arrests and deportations because when people are driving unregistered, it's very easy to see that. There's no sticker. And so they'll be pulled over. And then the police could have an opportunity to ask for their papers. Whereas before, Texas required that you have legal status to get a driver's license, but police don't check driver's licenses unless you get in an accident or commit a traffic violation, which is, that happens less frequently than not being registered.
And we'd likely see more people uninsured on the streets as well. So every driver would be affected in some way, shape, or form.
Absolutely.
And do you expect to see more of this type of rule changes, or is there potential for legislation coming from somebody like Harrison in the future?
I think he's made statements that suggest he's not very interested in legislation, but absolutely his MO is to find areas where the state government is not checking for legal status and make sure that they're known and get rules changed. So I absolutely expect this to continue to happen, especially because for Harrison, it's a win, and that's what he wants. I think also these incidents put pressure on Governor Abbott and other lawmakers to look like they're being firmer on immigration issues. So, for example, Harrison is claiming that this is the most impactful action the state has taken on immigration all year, on border security, as he says. So that's going to put some pressure on those lawmakers to do more so that they can have something to say. Because Harrison has such a strong following that sometimes his followers will attack incumbent lawmakers, even if they pass laws, for example, that require sheriffs to work with ICE, or, like Abbott, they send the National Guard from Texas to Chicago to help guard ICE facilities. It's sort of a snowball effect, I guess.
Bayliss Wagner covers state politics for the San Antonio Express News and the Hearst Network, which includes the Houston Chronicle. She spoke with Houston Matters producer Mincho Jacob. Still to come, our food writers named some of their favorite places to find European cuisine around Greater Houston as Houston Matters continues.
Hi, I'm Lenny Ambrose from St. Arnold Brewing Company, proud supporters of Houston Public Media. Right now, with your $60 donation, you can choose tickets to News and Brews. This member-exclusive event takes place February 17th. Enjoy a pint, connect with fellow NPR fans, and meet the Houston Public Media newsroom in person. Select News and Brews tickets when you donate at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from Baylor College of Medicine. With 125 years of innovation behind it, Baylor has driven progress in health and medicine through research, education, and care that push the frontiers of modern science.
Houston Matters with Craig Cohen is made possible in part by Ellen Benninghoven and Dr. Michael Schaefer, with gifts from listeners like you.
This is Houston Matters. I'm Michael Haggerty, in today for Craig Cohen. And thanks for joining us on this Giving Tuesday. As you've been hearing, we're coming to you because it is crucial that we meet our financial goals to ensure programming like this continues for the future. If you've been waiting to give, this is it. Make your gift right now at houstonpublicmedia.org or 888-909-0887. Here with me all hour to encourage your support is Houston Public Media News anchor Matt Harab.
Hey, Michael. Yeah, I think about conversations we just heard about registration and immigrants and all of the things going on in this country, and I think about the service we provide here at Houston Public Media, and we just want to provide clarity. We want to provide balance. We want to provide information, and that's why you tune in to this show, Houston Matters. And so if you give on this Giving Tuesday right now, 888-909-0887, or you head over to houstonpublicmedia.org, you can get $5 a month, $10 a month. It all adds up. But if you really want to help sustain shows like this, and we created Hello Houston for you as well to help provide, again, that clarity. That's the goal here, information, clarity, and news. An Affinity Council member for $417 a month. You're a Studio Society member for $100 a month. We're coming to those people in the community who really have that capability to help sustain Houston Public Media. If that's something that you value, if this service is something that you rely on every day, we're coming to you today on this Giving Tuesday to help support it for the future. So give us a call, 888-909-0887, or head over to houstonpublicmedia.org.
You know, when the city votes on flood planning or school zoning, we're in the room. Our newsroom shows up at City Hall, at school board meetings, and town halls all across Greater Houston and Galveston because we want firsthand information. We know you're too busy to go to all those events yourself, to go digging all that up yourself. We bring it to you. Now, bring us a little something back so we can continue to serve you on this Giving Tuesday with a contribution to houstonpublicmedia.org or 888-909-0887. We're trying to get a few more gifts here this hour so we can unlock this special goal of some $25,000.
Yeah, $25,000 or go a long way. How? Well, we're going to turn around and give it right back to you because you deserve to know what's happening in our city. That is the power of local journalism and the power of having a local newsroom. It's 9:24 right now. In about 5 minutes, our morning meeting is going to start, where we are going to talk about in the newsroom. I won't be there because I'll be here, but they're going to talk about the stories of the day, what matters to you. And it's not just local news we're thinking about. We're thinking about the state news because we have our state newscast that we deliver right here out of this building that you help support, you help sustain, this service that you help provide for those who can't give. So give on this Giving Tuesday if you can at 888-909-0887 or head over to HoustonPublicMedia.org. $5, $10 a month, it all matters. $100 a month, you're a member of our Studio Society. Help us on this Giving Tuesday.
Yeah, don't sit this one out.
Yeah.
You can be the one that helps us get even closer and eventually to this goal and unlock $25,000 for the news and information and conversations on Houston Matters that you hear every single day. We need something like 230 gifts away from unlocking that $25,000. You can do it with a simple phone call to 888-909-0887 or a visit to HoustonPublicMedia.org right now. Maybe it's $5 total or $5 a month, $10 a month, or maybe, say, $100 a month. Be part of our Studio Society or more if you're able to give. Whatever it is you're able to do, the important thing is do your part. Because you're listening right now, you obviously rely on the information and conversations you hear every single day on this show and everything else on Houston Public Media. Again, do your part. Your financial support is crucial to ensuring the future of in-depth news, thoughtful analysis, and storytelling here on Houston Matters. Make your contribution right now, HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate, or call us 888-909-0887 and stick with us as Houston Matters continues.
You count on Houston Public Media. That's why you're here right now. Take the next step and become a new member today. Every gift makes a difference. And with a gift of $5 a month or more, you'll receive PBS Passport, a member benefit that lets you stream more of the shows you love anytime. It only takes a minute to make a big difference. Join as a new member today at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call 800-364-8300.
888-909-0887.
Support comes from Theater Under the Stars, bringing you a forecast snowy white with Irving Berlin's Broadway musical White Christmas. On stage at the Hobby Center December 9th through Christmas Eve. Tickets available at tuts.org.
Support comes from Central Market Holiday Meals, offering chef-prepared meals, mains, sides, and desserts. A variety of smoked hams and beef roasts are also available for pre-order. Menu at centralmarket.com.
This is Houston Matters. I'm Michael Haggerty. So maybe you're like Kevin McAllister's family in Home Alone. And this holiday season, you'll be jetting off to Europe. If so, enjoy the sights, the sounds, the food wherever you're headed. And pro tip, make sure to remember all your kids are on the plane before you take off. And the night before, be on the lookout for Joe Pesci. But anyways, if you are not headed to Europe, like many of us anytime soon, but still want to sample the wonderful cuisine the continent has to offer over the holidays or throughout the year, our food writers are here now to share some of their favorite places to get European dishes around the city. They talk it over, and it's all listed right now at HoustonMatters.org on this month's edition of The Full Menu.
I'm Felice Sloan. Follow me at Swanky Maven.
Hi, I'm Sofia Gonzalez, food and travel editor for Houstonia Magazine.
I'm Eric Sandler, editor for Culture Map Houston.
The Full Menu is a production of Houston Public Media with support from Central Market.
All right, Felice, before we get started, we should introduce our panelists subbing in this month for David. Sophia, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Ladies, I love another lady. So, Sophia, welcome.
Thank you.
Because the boys, they cut up sometimes. So we got this today.
Yes, we do. I'm excited. Thank you.
All right, and we should say this is a little bit of a full circle moment for you. You were once an intern here at Houston Public Media.
Yes, I was. Yeah, this is very full circle for me. I haven't been back since 2021, so I'm excited to be here.
All right, well, we'll make sure someone brings you coffee for a change just to kind of complete the full guest experience.
Right, yeah.
All right. Felice, this month we're talking about European restaurants. We're going to kind of cover the continent, everything except Italian. And I have to tell you, I struggled with this a little bit because some of our staples have closed recently, right? Like you could have gone to Riel for Ukrainian food and it closed, or you could have gone to Rudy Lechner's for German food, but it's closed, or even, for many, many years, Polish pierogies at Polonia. Well, Polonia is long gone. It didn't survive the pandemic, unfortunately. So, Felice, why don't you kick us off? What was your first European restaurant?
you know me, Eric. I was like, do I go bougie or do I go old school? I'm going to go old school because you get good music. It's a vibe. I'm going to go Brasserie 19. It's a staple. If you know, you know, because it's been around for a while. But, I mean, they just have all the things. It's very classic French, but, you know, they have, like, the vibes. Like, it's, you feel like you're
It's very River Oaks, very CNBC.
Well, I wanted to say that because I'm not like a River Oaks girl. So, yes, it is for the River Oaks people. But if you're not about that scene, you can go, too. Like, it's a good watching people and good bite.
Yeah, I mean, all the classic, like, beef bourguignon or, you know, Chef Michael Hoffman always has something good on the menu. It's very, very classic French bistro fare.
Yeah, also in River Oaks, I put Toulouse on my list. So I brought a friend whose whole family is from France, and he said that had his stamp of approval. So I said, okay, that needs to go on my list for today. We love the escargot, and then they have a lot with lobster, and I'm a sucker for anything with lobster. So like a lobster mac and cheese, a lobster bisque.
All right, well, I'm going to go slightly newer. I'm going to keep it French, but I want to talk about Chardon. This is the restaurant in the Thompson Hotel. They're kind of doing like a Texas French, so like Texas Wagyu beef cheek bourguignon, for example, or, you know, the lobster pot pie, you know, some of this like pretty classic like French stuff, but it's all done really well, and the room is absolutely beautiful.
I'm gonna go bougie. Where do you think I'm going, Eric?
Ooh, are we going to Spain? Are we going to BCN?
I love BCN.
We can go there. Everybody, that is like my top bougie. Like, I've left Houston. I'm not even in the United States anymore. I'm starting with great cocktails, whatever the special is, because the specials are great, but...
Look, if
where
I'm
are you
going
going?
to
Where are you
BCN,
going? Where are you going,
here's
Eric?
the move.
Okay, give me the move.
Okay.
Give me
You
the
start
move.
with one of their gin and tonics, always.
Correct.
I was going to note
That's a
that,
cocktail.
yes.
Starting with cocktails, okay.
You get that sliced prosciutto.
Oh,
You
yes.
start with that jamon iberico. You get those croquettes, and then you get the suckling pig.
I was going to say the bomba rice with the grilled branzino.
That is the other one. And you surf
See,
and
I'm
turf it.
Branzino. That's
Yeah,
the way
that's
I
yours,
go.
yeah.
That's the way I go.
All right. Well, if that wasn't your bougie spot, then is it Le Jardinier? Is that your bougie
No, I
French
saved that
restaurant?
for you.
That's on my list, actually.
I saved that for the bougie people at the other end of the table.
All right. Go ahead, Sophia. Talk about Le Jardinier.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously they have Michelin star for a reason. They have the attentive wait staff. They have the menu focus on the French cuisine. And then they also have Instagrammable plates that taste good, too. Like, they're all gorgeous.
That butterfly dessert that they do at the end is, if that's not on your Instagram feed, do you even eat it in restaurants in Houston?
Exactly.
I'm going to go with my favorite sort of European-ish restaurant. I have to talk about Basso. This is the live fire restaurant in the Heights. They are loosely Baskin-fired, which means that basically everything is cooked over fire, and they source the absolutely best ingredients that they can get their hands on. I'm going for the grilled shrimp. I'm going for the amberjack tartare, or the venison tartare recently became the elk tartare. And then in what I guess is becoming my theme of the segment today, the pork chop is absolutely epic and totally must order.
I'm going to keep it a little bougie, again, because we seem like we're going there. So
We are.
I'm going to go with Annabelle Brasserie. It is one of the best-looking restaurants in the city. And the food, I mean, again, classic. You can go escargot. You can do char-grilled octopus. And they have the scallops. The scallops are beautiful. They're done very well. That's the way I would go. Or steak frites, but, you know.
Yeah, it's gorgeous in there. I did a whole story on the design of it, too, and the whole backstory is fascinating.
Love it. Love it. We love a pretty restaurant.
All right, one more French restaurant, at least for me. We have to talk about camaraderie. This is the new restaurant in the Heights from Chef Sean Gall, who has an incredible resume of working at Michelin-starred restaurants in New York, Chicago, and San Francisco. He was at Goodnight Hospitality when they got going. You can get the prefet, sort of shareable plates to start, and then your choice of an entree. He's doing a really incredible osso buco pasta. He's doing like a fish in a dough crust that kind of varies from time to time. Carrot cavatelli is really good, and he is a trained pastry chef, so always stay for dessert.
Let me see if y'all agree with this. Most people don't think about European when they go there, but it's very much European. Squabble. Would you agree?
Yeah, French influence for sure.
Right? Yeah, you know, like the people's favorite, those Dutch pancakes, right? But they have like the venison tartare, and I like going for brunch, so I'm going with those Dutch baby pancakes. Those are some of my favorites.
For brunch and dinner, but at brunch, those potatoes with the smoked trout roe and the chives and the sauce, I mean, that's an incredible decadent brunch dish. And always, always, always with at least one Terry's Martini.
And bronzino if I'm going for dinner.
Awesome. Well, if we're on the topic of brunch, I also put mi luna in Montrose on that.
Yep.
So I put the patatas bravas with the crisp potatoes and the spicy brava sauce. I feel like that's just a good one. It's a fun one. And I also live in walking distance, so it's a go-to.
All right, since we mentioned a Spanish restaurant, we mentioned BCN. I also want to mention Mad, their sister restaurant in River Oaks District. It's interesting. They've kind of switched things up there a little bit. They took some of the screens off the windows, so it's a little brighter in there. They retired the DJ booth, so it's a little more sedate, like it's a little more chill. Which still, I mean, the best paella in the city, cooked over wood fire. All those little small plates, all those little shareable bites. It's a really delicious restaurant.
I'm gonna go Casa Brava Bistro. That's been around for a while. People, they either like it or they're like, well, they don't even know about it, right? But I think they do really, really good seafood, like scallops, jumbo shrimp pancake. They just do really creative, regular, whatever people would say would be like a regular dish.
A celebrity endorsement. This is one of my mother's favorite restaurants.
Awesome. Well, there you go. There you go.
Absolutely. All right, Sophia, what's next on your list?
Yeah, well, I have Blue Tuba in the Heights. It's given a lot of love in the Heights Foodie Facebook group, so I felt like I just had to add that in there. It has that light on the Central European cuisine, and I feel like it's really cool the way that they do it, too.
They're really focusing on the things that they do well. The schnitzel, the pierogi, the goulash. I mean, that's the strength of that kitchen, and so, they are very good versions of those dishes.
And I'm glad they're getting the recognition they deserve, and, on social media and just by people going and supporting.
Yeah, and then kind of in a similar vein, I want to mention that Kenny and Ziggy's does a lot of those dishes too. Like you think of them for sandwiches and lox platters and all that stuff, but like Ziggy Gruber, the owner, has a real love for this kind of Eastern European food. So like their schnitzel, their stuffed cabbage, their goulash, they make beef short rib stroganoff. All that stuff is really great.
Another one, this is a little more casual, fun, the Barcelona wine bar. They have really good tapas and wine. Like, you can't miss it.
I don't want to skip over British cuisine. Not that we have a ton of it, but there are a couple of places that come to mind. There's Fish and Chips down in Kemah, which does, this is so simple. You go to Fish and Chips and you get the fish and chips. I think it's your choice of cod or haddock. But it's super crispy, worth the drive if you're an interlooper. And then the other one that I wanted to mention was Red Lion Pub, like a classic Houston institution. You can get everything from, again, fish and chips to a burger to a great curry, all that kind of stuff.
I had that second one on my list too. Houstonia featured them in the Eat the World package, so I knew I had to include that in there. We also had like the Heinz baked beans and, like you said, the fish and chips. So I think that's a good one.
We've done French. We've done British, so kind of right in that same corner of the world. Belgian. The only one that I'm fully aware of is Café Brussels in the First Ward. But again, you're going there for like an incredible selection of Belgian beer, and obviously the moule frites, the mussels and fries is the thing to get there.
And then for mine, I have a Bosnian restaurant, Cafe Adele, just west of Tanglewood. They have your standard salads, pizzas, but they also have Bosnian sandwiches and more traditional mains, like the vegetable rolls with ground beef and things of that nature. So I think that was a good one for me to put on here just to highlight.
And I'm going to do another classic. It's in Rice Village, the Istanbul Grill. Hummus and the different kebabs. Tabbouleh, like they have it all. If you're vegetarian, we can't go wrong with a falafel plate. I'm Felice Sloan. Follow me at Swanky Maven.
Hi, I'm Sofia Gonzalez, food and travel editor for Houstonia Magazine.
I'm Eric Sandler, editor for Culture Map Houston, and you're listening to Houston Matters with Craig Cohen.
And thank you for joining us here on Houston Matters. I'm Michael Haggerty in today for Craig Cohen on this Giving Tuesday. We've spent this hour reminding you just how vital your support is to keeping the programs you depend on strong and available for everyone in our community. That's why we're asking for your support today, whatever amount you're able to give at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or 888-909-0887. Matt Harrop continues to be with us here on this Giving Tuesday.
Hey, good morning, Michael. Yeah, Giving Tuesday, it's just the best time to share your passion for the content that we produce here at Houston Public Media. It's not just the content here at Houston Public Media, also NPR. You get the national news, local news, state news, and even segments like you just heard on Houston Matters. It's not just news. We want to show you the flavors of Houston and, you know, the arts, and it's what an amazing city we have, and we want to highlight it. That's what we do here at Houston Public Media, and we certainly thank you for your support. And it comes in all kinds of amounts, right? Michael was talking about $5 gifts, $10 a month. But if you're listening right now and you're like, I want to sustain this for the future, I want this for my kids and my kids' kids, you can become a member of our Affinity Council member. That's $417 a month, or you can go a little lower, $100 a month, and you are a Studio Society member. Why do we push for those? Well, it's because they're sustaining gifts, and we want to sustain what we do here at Houston Public Media. You can help make that happen right now on this Giving Tuesday. Head over to houstonpublicmedia.org/donate and join us. Call 888-909-0887.
And your contribution will get us a step closer. We're just 200-something gifts away from unlocking an extra $25,000 to go to this station and for the programming like Houston Matters that you rely on every single day. We're waiting to hear from you because you're listening right now and you're in a place where you can give $5 a month, $10, the amounts Matt just went through, whatever you're able to do. Your contribution gets us one step closer to getting that extra $25,000. We don't want to miss out on that. We won't have to if you make your call right now at 888-909-0887 or your contribution online at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate.
And when you do, you're joining Wayne from Bel Air, Patricia from Houston, Judith from Pasadena, Violet from Magnolia, Jill from Katy, Paul from Houston. And how about this one, Michael? Alan from New Orleans. I want to highlight that. Just our signal doesn't go out to New Orleans, but what happens is you get people from other communities who understand the value of public media, and New Orleans certainly understands the value of public radio, just like Houston does when it comes to severe weather. Think about, we didn't get any hurricanes this year, and we are very thankful for that. But we certainly cannot guarantee that for the future. And think about Hurricane Beryl last year, the derecho from last year. We were there. We were here for you on the air, just like Alan has his public radio station in New Orleans. So we thank you, Alan in New Orleans, for donating to Houston Public Media and truly getting what we're all about here. We're here for you, and we're here to continue to provide the information you need in those moments with those strong, severe storms. We just had tornadoes last week. Head over to houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887 and help support this station for the future on this Giving Tuesday.
And right now, you have the power to help us unlock that extra $25,000 for Houston Public Media. We need something like 230 more contributions to get us that $25,000. So don't let it sit there. Help us unlock this challenge. Our newsroom is dedicated to bringing you the news, no matter the story. You count on us for facts, and we count on you for contributions so we can keep bringing you those facts. We're just 215 contributions away now. Give now, houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or 888-909-0887.
Yeah, you know, our newsroom is dedicated to bringing you the facts no matter what the story is. You count on us for those facts. So head on over to houstonpublicmedia.org right now /donate or call 888-909-0887. And we thank you for doing that.
You know, Houston Public Media's mission is simple: to serve our community with trusted news, education, and culture. Your support right now makes it happen. And it keeps it free for everyone. So make your contribution now, houstonpublicmedia.org, or call 888-909-0887. And thanks.
It's not just your car. It's the one that brought your kids home from school, took you cross-country, held memories, laughter, even a few breakdowns. When it's time to let go, give your car a new purpose. Donate it and turn memories into meaningful support for this station. Plus, you'll enjoy free and easy pickup, potential tax benefits, and a simple donation process. Your gift supports the programs you and your family love. Donate today and help keep public media strong. Call or donate online.
Faiths and beliefs may differ, kindness and friendship are universal. More at cmhouston.org.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from Good Reason Houston, with the 2025 Houston Public Education Snapshot, tracking how Houston's schools are preparing students today for a living wage tomorrow. Learn more at goodreasonhouston.org.
Houston Public Media is a service of the University of Houston and is supported with your gifts to the Houston Public Media Foundation. More information available online at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate.
For many of us, life in Houston is probably spent surrounded by people, buildings, and seemingly endless roadways. But if you've ever wanted to escape all that noise without going too far, you absolutely can, and even within the confines of our large metro area. Houston Matters producer Joshua Zinn took a visit to Lake Houston Wilderness Park in New Caney recently to experience a little nature not far from the city.
My name is Suzanne Simpson. I'm an ecologist and author based in Houston.
So, Suzanne, what got you interested in nature in the first place?
Well, so I grew up not far from here at all. I grew up in Kingwood, and I would say that it was actually moving away, and then coming back and realizing that, the place that I grew up had a ton of biodiversity. And, when I was going through school, all I really heard about Houston was that it was full of concrete and it was a desolate swamp, and it's just anything but. And so it became important for me to, first of all, understand the place that I came from, and then also share that Houston is actually one of the most biodiverse cities on the planet, and it's worthy of our appreciation and our protection.
I guess one thing we can talk about is this bird has flown by and made itself known. What kinds of stuff can you see here just in general? What sorts of nature and wildlife can visitors expect?
Yeah, you're going to be able to see just about anything you would want to at this particular park. So first of all, because of this lush forested habitat, this is a great stopover for neotropical migrating songbirds. So during the fall and spring migration, you're going to see all different types of species of warblers out here. Going down into the forest, at the bottom of the forest floor, this place also has a really high diversity of fungal species of mushrooms. And so really from the top of the canopy to the bottom of the forest floor, you're going to be getting diversity everywhere you look. Okay, so I want you guys to lean in. You smell anything?
Smell it? It smells very green to me.
Very green?
Yeah.
You smell anything? Let's see. See if we can get another one. So I'm getting a little bit of almonds. It's this is a cherry laurel, and when you rub the leaves together, you can kind of get that almond aroma from them. So this is going to be one of the more common trees that you see in what we would call the mid-story of the canopy here. So this is a shrub that produces fruit that's really beneficial to wildlife. You can see it all around here. And next to it over there we have our sweet gum that also serves a very similar function. And then we're surrounded by different types of oak and elms right now. So let's go further in and see what else we find. Let's see if we can find a log to turn over somewhere.
Ooh.
There's gotta be a good one.
Yeah. All right, so we got a nice big log here.
Might be too fresh for me to roll. No, we got this. Boom.
Ooh.
Anything?
I see some maggots down there.
Maggots! Hopefully. Let's see if we can go back this way. Nope. man.
There's a little beetle or something roaming around, or a roach.
Yeah, you know, the thing about turning over logs is I got a pretty low batting average, but you never know whenever you're going to find something cool underneath.
What is like the coolest thing you found under a log out here?
Let's see.
Like something you're like, oh my gosh.
I mean, it's always salamanders, right? But I will say, like, the coolest log turnover that I've ever done is I found a family of moles underneath the log.
Wow.
And so it was just like, just wasn't expecting it at all. And I was like, that is full on a family of moles that are just hanging out underneath this log. But out here I would, be looking for maybe a marbled salamander. This is their breeding season right now. Salamanders are awesome, and they love hanging out in these kind of riparian interfaces.
Right. Yeah, that's actually one of the things I wanted to ask about. It's when people think of Houston, they obviously think of, freeways and concrete and big buildings, but this park is huge. When you look at the map, it takes up a lot of land. Can you just talk about why it's important to preserve something like this in such a sprawling urban center?
First of all, people have to have some sort of connection and sense of place, and that just goes to their quality of life living anywhere. And so places like this, like Houston Wilderness Park, can create that. Another reason it's important to preserve an area like this is because it is surrounded by communities now, by the built environment. But this is a floodplain by and large, and it's important to preserve those areas where the river is going to swell during rain events. Those areas need to be natural. They need to be full of trees. They need to be able to flood, and we don't want people's homes in that area. So it's important to be strategic about conserving our floodplains, and this is a preserve that has two major water bodies that are coming together. So there's no better use for it than a nature preserve.
Oh, whoa, cool spider web.
Yeah, that is a dope spider web. Who we got? I think it's an orb weaver. Yeah, you can see it. Yeah, it's a species of orb weaver. There you go.
Nice.
I don't know if you're gonna be able to get that. Spiders never want to cooperate with me, but this is really cool. So you see how the web has like areas where it's a little bit thicker than others. So scientists have tried to figure out why that is, and I don't think that there's a real conclusive reason at this point, but what they hypothesize is that it's to prevent birds and I guess unobservant hikers from running into the web. Like you can see it a little bit better. Yeah, it's like pattern recognition.
Yeah.
And
they're like little reflectors almost.
Exactly. So I think that's a super cool theory and could be probable. But either way, it just makes it so beautiful.
This spider is making its web right
That's
now.
right.
Like it's putting it together.
Straight up. You can see the spinnerets working right now, putting its web together. This is a species of orb weaver. It has kind of a pointy backside with, it's white and black. It's really quite picturesque. We just had Halloween last week, and so this is a species that's closely associated with the season. But it's first of all harmless, but second of all creates this beautiful, beautiful web.
Nice. Thinking about people who may not be used to the outdoors or might be wanting to try something like this, just do you have general advice for how to make the most of it and how to, keep yourself healthy, keep yourself safe, any precautions you should take if you're, not used to being in nature, that sort of thing?
Yeah, look, I'm very much a just get out there and do it type of person. But there is a lot of information available that you can look up ahead of time, whether it's, a book like Wild Houston, whether it's using All Trails. There are places you can kind of get that information and empower yourself feeling like, okay, I'm going into this experience and I kind of know what I'm going to get out of it. And there are tons of easy, urban hikes that you can have in Houston, but you can also go further afield to places like the Trinity River National Wildlife Refuge and really immerse yourself in the swamp if you want to. So we do have a lot of variety. We also have the longest wilderness footpath in Texas is not far from where we're standing today. So there are a lot of options to have a deeper adventure. My advice is, look, pack water, pack bug spray, pack a snack, and go explore.
Yeah. Okay. It's nice and simple. One thing I'd like to make note of is how shady everything is in this area.
Oh my gosh.
For a place that is known for constant heat all the time, like this is pretty nice. Like I can barely see the sun right now.
Absolutely. Being in these forested habitats is really a balm, especially during those summer months when we feel like we just can't do anything outside. You can be 10 or 15 degrees cooler just when you're underneath shade. And of course, when you're surrounded by natural habitats, you're not having that concrete heat reflecting off of you, so you can kind of get away from that urban heat island effect. So it can really be a lot cooler than you would expect in these forests as compared to what you're feeling outside your door. You can see this is also popular with like bikers, off-road biking, nice place for a bike ride, even with the roots.
Yeah, I mean, so this is a pretty big park. What else? I mean, what else can people do here?
Yeah, there's hiking, biking, equestrian use. There's an archery area, and they have dedicated events and activities throughout the year. So this is a very busy park, very active park. Lots going on here, lots to do, and something new to try every time you're here.
Yeah.
I would just emphasize that as we enter like the fall and winter months, those are great times to get outdoors and have a new adventure. You're not going to be so inundated by heat and humidity, so take advantage of it. Like, these are the months where it's like you're happy to live here. And so I really, really encourage everyone to go explore the habitats that make Houston special.
Houston Matters producer Joshua Zinn reporting there from the Lake Houston Wilderness Park in New Caney, about 30 miles northeast of downtown Houston. Now, that story is just another example of the variety of things there are to do and experience here in Greater Houston, and the wide variety of things we talk about and explore every day on Houston Matters. We're here on this Giving Tuesday, continuing to ask for your donation so that we can continue to keep bringing you these stories and discussions. Joining me, as he has been throughout the hour, is News 88.7's Matt Harrod.
Hey, Michael. We're looking for 5 more gifts this hour. We are on our way to unlocking $25,000 here for Houston Public Media as we go throughout the day. And, I'm just thinking about that story that we just heard and saw about Lake Houston Wilderness Park and just why you should be one of the 5 people to pick up the phone and dial 888-909-0887 or head over to houstonpublicmedia.org/donate. We're talking about how nature is evolving, and Josh is highlighting that, and it is such a great story to not only hear on the radio, but also see. If you go to our YouTube page, if you're just listening to the story and the radio in your car right now, make sure to go back later today and head over to our YouTube page so you can see Josh's piece visually. I'm just sitting here watching it, Michael, and just thinking, wow, how cool is it that we here at Houston Public Media have the capability of doing that? Not only provide the audio piece, but also we now are bringing cameras with us. We weren't doing that 5 years ago. We just weren't. Now we have the capability of bringing it to you live on the air here on Houston Matters and also on our website, houstonpublicmedia.org. That's also where you can head over and donate and continue sustaining this station for the future on this Giving Tuesday.
Yeah, now that we've added streaming of the show at 9 o'clock live on YouTube, that means we've got to, have visuals to show during some of these recorded segments, and that's been a fun addition for us as producers to go out and think about how to capture these stories visually and bring them to you on YouTube, but another service more than anything that for you as the audience members to take in. So that's what we're trying to do all the time, is to grow and evolve and meet the needs of our audience, because there's so many people that get podcasts and content on YouTube. So we wanted to have an increased presence there, and that's what we've done over the last few months and over almost a year now with Hello Houston since that's been on. So now we need your support so we can continue to serve all those people, including you, who take us in whatever way they get us over the radio or YouTube or however the heck they're going to do it tomorrow. So help us get that extra $25,000, though. That's our main goal right now in the next 2 minutes before the show is over. Well, you have just 5 more gifts to go. Yours now at 888-909-0887 or houstonpublicmedia.org.
Giving Tuesday is just the best time to share your passion for what we do here at Houston Public Media. Think about your routine. Think about what you do on a day-to-day basis. We're a part of it, right? And we want it to be a part of your day for the future, for your kids, for the long time, not just the months ahead, but the years ahead. So consider becoming a member of our Studio Society. For $100 a month, you're going to help sustain not only the news coverage that you hear, but the infrastructure. If you're watching me right now on our YouTube page, Houston Public Media, that needs to be supported, not just today, but in the months and the years ahead. And we want to continue giving you the stories of Houston. So head over to houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
5 more contributions to get us to that 200 mark, and we get those 200, we'll get that extra 25 grand to support the news and conversations you count on this show. Houston Matters wrapping up now, and then on to Texas Standard here in a moment. Make your contribution now at houstonpublicmedia.org or 888-909-0887.
Media comes from Baylor College of Medicine. With 125 years of innovation behind